The hail shall sweep away their refuge of lies, and the water shall overflow the hiding place. Isaiah chapter 53. No, it's not. That's Isaiah 27, I think, or 28. As birds passing over Jerusalem, God would deliver them. That's what happened in times of Hezekiah. The great flood of destruction came, and earthquake, and blast, the terrible ones as the storm against the wall. And it says they all were like sounding brass, if you like, tinkling cymbals. There was no substance to it, because it says, what does it say? Destruction came on them, but it was just like a dream. And God said that it was like a nightmare, you know. You wake up and you have a dream that you're going to be killed, basically. Or you dream you're thirsty, and dream that you're hungry, and you just wake up. Like the 3 scouts. What did they do? They were in the jungle. They had 2 days supply of food left. And the one said, we got 2 bananas, 2 crisps, and 1 pop. And he says, I woke up, I had a dream, you know. He says, oh, I dreamt I was home having a steak dinner. The other guy said, no, he says, I woke up. He said, I dreamt I had 2 bananas, 2 crisps, and a nice pop. In the book of Isaiah, it's Jerusalem has fallen. Jerusalem has fallen, chapter 1, chapter 2. And Babylon has fallen. It talks about the Babylon has fallen twice, it's repeated. Now, when it talks about chapter 28 of Isaiah, and 29, it talks about, Ariel is repeated twice, I think to get our attention. You know, Ariel. He said, oh Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou who slayest the prophets, killest those who are destroyed unto thee, and all that. Sent unto you, rising early, they sent the prophets to warn them from the evil of their ways. God said, if they'd stood in my counsel, caused my people to hear my words, they would have turned them from the evil of their doings, and therefore the destruction which fell on the people. But the idea is that, Ariel is repeated as, Babylon is repeated. And then chapter 13 of Isaiah, Babylon is predicted to be destroyed. It talks about the destruction of Babylon in Isaiah chapter 51 and 50, 52. And it all happened, you know. The Babylon was destroyed. It's the type of the world, and it attacks the church at the end of the world, Babylon. So the forces of Gog and Magog, they attacked the church, like Babylon, you know. And chapter 19, chapter 18, book of Revelation. And all the destruction which comes on Babylon and the forces of the world which attack the church in the last days. And they will be like the blast of the terrible ones. They'll be like a storm against the wall in the end of the world, at the end of the time. And this is what's happening across the world now. The Chinese communists, and you look at what's going on with North Korea and the communism. You look at what's going on with all the other types of false prophets. They're all attacking the Christian churches everywhere, and we're seeing symbols of communism going up now in churches, and putting pictures of Xi in the pulpits, and they've got televised cameras there to spy on everything. This is all control, you know. This is all state manipulation and control and persecution. And then you got the underground church, and they're not allowed to buy Bibles in the shops. You've got to go and get them from the state churches. It's all manipulation. It's all what's going on. And this is the Babylon, modern day Babylon. And it's in 3 cities, the book of Revelation tells us. Where are the 3 cities? I think it's like communism in the east, from North Korea and all that, shooting Christians for even having a Bible. The attack is coming from the false prophets, where they've been killing Christians, throwing them into the, just killing them, throwing things out of their churches. This is what's going on around the world. This is the Babylon. In the West, you could call it the laws which are bringing out against Christians, making it difficult to get jobs. They're attacking Christians by saying they can't even adopt in some cases if they don't agree to their so-called agendas. There's all kinds of evil going on around the world, and this is Babylon attacking the church. This is what happened in the Old Testament when Babylon was attacking, but it was like a dream, because we win the battle. Jesus comes back. It's the end of the wicked. So as Jesus said, watch for the signs of his return, you know. So we're seeing what is going on in the earth. Talks about global warming, right? Jesus said that there'll be great heat on the earth, you know. Men's hearts failing for fear of those things coming on the earth. We're seeing that now. And we're seeing the great storms around the earth. We're seeing all the signs Jesus talked about. He said it will, you know, after the Jews repossess Jerusalem, what did he say will happen? He said the Jews repossess Jerusalem. Then he said it'd be signs of the sun, moon and stars on earth, distress the nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Well, sea and the waves roaring, that's happening with all these global warming effects. I think dropping nuclear bombs into the ground is also causing problems, you know, because that causes earthquakes. And I believe they've been doing that in some places, like in North Korea, dropping bombs everywhere. So the Bible is describing all the blast of the terrible ones as like a storm against a wall when the enemies attack. You know, they come in like a flood. The Spirit of God will raise up a standard against them. And the idea is that the whole world is attacking the church, and they will find destruction comes on them. And it talks about in Ezekiel, when Gog attacks, you know, God will lead against him with fire and pestilence and blood, and, you know, God will give him blood to drink, he talks about in Book of Revelation. So this blast of the terrible ones, like a storm against a wall, but the wall stands. Why does the wall stand? Because God is the defender of the church. And Jesus said, I will build my church. The gates of hell shall not prevail against it. The destruction which comes on the earth is described as like 7 vials being poured out, 7 plagues and 7 trumpets. And it gives them blood to drink. You know, the sea becomes like blood is turned to blood. It's symbolic of what happens. But in the Second World War, that really did happen. You know, a lot of people died in the sea. A third of the ships were destroyed. The people were killed. So the idea is 200 million would die as well. It talks about Revelation chapter 9. When has 200 million died? Well, if you in the last 150 years, because it talks about 5 months or 150 days, which I take for a year. 1 day is a year. Prophetic, also 150 years. When did that happen? Well, I reckon nearly 200 million have died anyway. So it talks about the way they talked about during the wars. First World War, Second World War, the century since aeroplanes went up to flags. It says they were flying through the air, spitting out fire, brimstone and smoke. But again, it's all a blast of the terrible ones, like a storm against the wall. It's like a nightmare, it's like a dream, and you wake up from it, you know. And the guy is thirsty and and everything, and he drinks, but he wakes up and he's still thirsty. It's a dream. And God says that these blasts against the church, which will happen at the end of the world, yet will come to an end. And the attacks, they will finish. And Jesus will come back. And he will give eternal paradise to all who trust and believe in him. But those who reject Christ will go into the fires. In the book of Nahum, it says, God will have his way in the whirlwind and in the storm. This whirlwind, which God has his way in, is the armies kicking up dust, coming against the Israel and the spiritual Christian Israel, of course, the Christian church. But the New Jerusalem coming down from God is the Christian church. And it's not talking about the New Jerusalem in Jerusalem. This is coming down from God out of heaven. This New Jerusalem, it's what gets attacked by the forces of Gog and Magog. But Jesus says that they will be thrown into the lake of fire, those who attack the church. Now, the devil gets thrown into the fire. And it